What's up, Ramley? You are now in the kitchen with Chef Nixon for all your fixings for the latest and greatest of VCU men's basketball. So, yesterday, VCU traveled to Loyola Chicago University. How'd it go? Let's get into it. All right, so Loyola, they entered this game with a record of 9-4, but are going through a little rough patch to say the least. Um, losing three of their last losing their last three games. Excuse me. Loyola has been dealing with injuries um, to significant players, um, but now they're back in full force to host VCU. They're led by Des Watson. If you remember, he is a Davidson transfer, and I think that he really gets to show his true ability here at Loyola. He's averaging 12 points and 4 rebounds, but for whatever reason, he plays really well against VCU. Um, he's strong, athletic, can shoot the ball, can score the ball at the rim. He can do a little bit of everything. I won't be surprised to see him play some professional ball down the line somewhere. And then also they have Jalen Dawson, who's also averaging 12 points a game, shooting 35% from the 3 point line. Um, so Loyola's a tough, physical um, team with high expectations in this A10. Um, they also have a former VCU player on their team, JJ Deloach, um, who was at VCU under Mike Rhodes and then transferred to Georgia. That didn't necessarily work out the way that he wanted to. But then he tried to come back to VCU the following year, and Coach Odom and the guys were like, nah. So he ends up going to A10 rival team, Loyola, and he looks to get some revenge on us. And I'm excited to see I was excited to see the intensity in this game because I know all conference games have that intensity, but this is kind of forming into some type of rivalry, if you ask me. Just because the young coach, he really wants to beat VCU at all times, just like most people do. You know, we're low key the darlings of the A10. Even though we don't necessarily have the most success, we have a very recognizable name. Um, Even though Dayton, I would say Dayton has more national consistency success than us. Um, People still want to aim for VCU. I guess just the publicity behind us. Um, so yeah, how can Loyola exploit VCU's flaws, and how can they slow down VCU's high-powered offense? Those will be the two questions that will need to be answered. That had to be answered yesterday. So for VCU, on the other hand, they entered this game with a record of 10-4. Uh, they're looking to bounce back after another close loss um, to St. Bonaventure, the red hot St. Bonaventure, I might add, 77-75. Uh, VCU is in dire need of a quality win. If you look at their schedule and you look at their previous games, you see that they beat the teams they're supposed to beat. But when there's any type of adversity in the game, they have found themselves on the short end, losing by a small margin, which means they just need to do the little things and make the little plays, and they can transform those into W's instead of L's. And hopefully, those L's that we've already had turn into lessons. All right. So they're led by Max Shoga into this game, a true road game, I should say. Um, can they bounce back? There's a lot of unanswered questions about this VCU team, especially after the preseason hype of us supposed to be the number one team in the A10 is gonna people are gonna have questions when they don't see the result of that. So let's get into this game. The first thing I noticed about this game is Loyola Chicago probably has the worst hairline across the board um, in regards to their players. Their hairline is completely out of whack. So many guys are looking like Stephen A. Smith. I know I can't talk, but it's just an observation of mine. But being honest, I thought that both teams came out and played extremely well or extremely hard to start the back. Um, I think VCU VCU has a hard time actually getting settled, though. Um, Early on, they always have a lot of turnovers, a lot of sloppy play, and I think that goes with the lineup thing I mentioned in my last video. For those who were paying attention, I really think it's time to just make a small switch. Uh, I would love to see Joe Bamisile continue his aggression, but I think the type of aggression, the way he plays, would be best suited for when he's coming off the bench, because he really can light up. We need scoring off the bench. Him and Michael Bell checking in at the same time would be really good. Zeb Jackson should, in my opinion, could go back to the starting lineup. I think him and Phil play very well together. Uh, so just an opinion. So things I've taken away is, VSU has, with all the games the VCU has lost, they've always been really close games. And the biggest thing for that is just valuing each possession, whether that be on offense or defense. Early on this half, I just thought that they didn't take care of the ball well. Um, Bad shots. Like for instance, out of a timeout, you draw up a play. Shot clock is not a factor. One pass, and we shoot a 30-foot three. If we make it, it's great. But if we miss it, it's just we could have got that same shot with 2 seconds left on the shot clock, and we took it with 25. You know what I mean? So it's just like those type of plays have to stop. And I'm not trying to put restrictions on anybody, because you want your players to play freely and relaxed and comfortable. But there has to be some type of understanding of what's a good shot and what's not a good shot. Period, point blank. You know what I mean? So I thought we took some bad shots. We had a couple mental lapses in the first half defensively. Ball watching. I remember Brandon James got caught ball watching, got backdoor cut. Jaden Delos passed it to Jaden. What's his name? Jaden Dawson. Ended up getting a layup and one. So just small things like that we have to clean up. And not saying that we're never going to get beat by a backdoor. Not saying that we're always going to take the best shot. But for VCU with their, I think that happens a little bit too much for them to be if you want to be a contender, you can't have those types of flaws. Now, of course, there are going to be certain plays that you weren't aware of, that weren't on the scouting report, broken plays where stuff happens like the backdoor cut. But as far as good shots, that's something you really can't control. You know what I mean? So I think as VCU grows and they go throughout this A10 conference play, I think if they can shorten up some of those things, that's where you'll see the most improvement, and you'll see the wins start to stack up. So this game, I thought early on would be determined by points in the paint. I think that Loyola did a really good job at attacking the paint early on, especially Watson. He was hot from three, but he also was attacking, making his presence felt. He was off to a blazing first half. He had 17 points in the first half. And if you know anything about me and my suspicion, if a player has a really good shooting first half, I usually don't think they're going to be able to sustain that for the second half. And with VCU only going in the half down 3, I really was under the impression that we were going to come out and play good, and we'll be able to get back in the thing and probably take a lead. However, I didn't see what transpired happening. VCU came out and completely dominated the second half. I mean, completely. I think Phil Russell has shown that he has that dog in him, and we all knew that Phil Russell had the dog in him. But these last few games, he's really started to find a groove. He's been our leading scorer these last 2 games, and his energy just brings up the energy of the team. He's all like, it's like he's playing 2 games as well. Phil Russell is playing the basketball game, but he's also playing this game with the opposing team's mental space, and also the referees. The referees have to be mindful of how Phil Russell plays. If they come in there blind, they're going to be fooled all day. Now I fear that the refs are going to watch film or something like, and the word's going to get around like, we got to watch that Phil Russell kid. Um, but he plays such a mind game with opposing defenders that he's always on the floor. He's always in the midst of something dramatic or something like that. And sometimes it works in his favor, sometimes it doesn't. But it is entertaining to see nonetheless. Uh, so yeah, and also I would like to give a shout out to Zeb Jackson. Zeb Jackson. One thing I've noticed about Zeb is when Zeb plays great, it seems that VCU plays well as at the same rate. Um, he is another player where his energy is just infectious. So it's imperative that we get Zeb going as much as we get, Phil going as well, because they're energy guys, and that's why I think that they should both be playing together. I think they should both be starting, and I think that would be beneficial for the team. Joe Bamisile is one of those guys where it doesn't matter where he's at, what time he gets, where he's on the floor. He's going to try to shoot the ball. He's going to try to score. You might as well move that to the bench. In just my opinion. Now I will say this: though Phil Russell played well, though Zeb Jackson played well, I will say, Jesus, I will say the biggest, the biggest thing I took away from this game is how well our front court played. From Furman and Jack Clark, they played extremely well. And I'm gonna start with Jack Clark because I've been very hard on Jack Clark because I felt like he was limiting himself to just being a 3-point shooter, but he wasn't shooting the ball well. So I was begging for him to do something else to impact the game, right? In these last two games, and I said last game, he started to attack. Some of the shots came up short because he just spent the whole first part of the season, whole out of conference play, not really doing that. Last game, a little shaky, but he did it, and here we are now, and he is playing extremely hard. He's attacking the glass, he's driving to the cup, and with that, you're starting to see better results. And with that, you're starting to see the spacing on the floor open up, open shots for other guys. You know what I mean? And I'm so happy that Jack Clark is doing that because it's really beneficial to the team. And the better he becomes at that, the more open his 3-point shot will be. The more pressure we'll have on the rim. Then he'll just have to work on passing the ball out. He'll be a defense collapser. It's going to benefit the team so much. And he played extremely well yesterday, and I have to give him credit for that. Also, Christian Furman. Christian Furman played extremely well as well. He I've spoken with some of the coaches before, and we talked about how our bigs don't really get post up opportunities, and how I think that would be beneficial to the team's success if they did. And I don't know, maybe the last 3 games, I think they've been trying to make an effort with that. And this game, we start to see the fruits of their labor. Christian Furman had a really good game. Posted up one or two times, got the ball, turned around with his signature turnaround, little hook shot / floater, and it just helps the balance. It just helps the balance of the offense. And I thought that VCU sticking with him having energy. Most people know this, but if you're scoring, you're going to have more energy on the defensive end. It shouldn't be that way, but that's usually just how things work. And it definitely worked for Christian Furman. Now, if you've been listening to me and you've been paying attention to my opinion about this team and what the number one thing is that determines whether they're going to win or lose a game, it's been the points in the paint battle. And would you believe that VCU dominated the points in the paint battle? Completely dominated. They had 40 to Loyola's 22 points in the paint. And we started out kind of slow in the first half, but the second half was complete domination. And I think that would be the cause of that. They just continuously attacked the rim, continuously put pressure on the rim. They shot open threes, but the attention was playing inside out, and it was so beneficial. And they pulled out what we thought would be a close game, and pulled out almost a 20-point victory, leading to a 84-65 VCU dub. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention VCU stifling defense in the second half. It's not just an offensive thing, but the defense was on 10. Uh, Loyola had 4 field goals in the second half until the 6-minute mark. That is crazy. Now, of course, that comes with some missed shots, but other than that, the defense was very stifling, and I'm super proud to be a part of the Ramley after a win like that. So shout out to the boys. So for Loyola, Des Watson, he had 17 points in the first half, finishes with 20 points, 3 assists, and 3 rebounds. I told you it's hard to carry over such a hot first half. And usually that's where you need somebody else to step up. But VCU was just so locked in defensively that nobody else had the opportunity to. Jalen Deloach put a typical Deloach game: 8 points, 8 rebounds, a couple of too small signature or emotes. You know what I'm saying? So he played pretty well, but just wasn't enough for VCU. Phil Russell had a fantastic game. Had 25 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists for VCU. Yeah, when he's in a groove like that, VCU is going to be really tough to beat because you still have the preseason voted conference player of the year in Max Schogel, who really didn't have to do much today. This was a complete team win, if you will. Jack Clark chipped in a double-double, 12 points, 11 rebounds. This type of game, I love to see this type of Jack Clark, and hopefully he can build on that. Now, my low-key player of the game has to go to Christian Furman. Christian Furman on both ends played extremely well. But see, this is what I saw. I saw that Furman was playing against JJ, and he took it personally, which made his defense be that much more intense. Now he has to carry that over into each game. It can't just be, when I'm playing somebody I know I want to get the better of. It has to be every big I play, I have to want to win my battle. I have to want to win my one-on-one battle. And this is the first time this season I actually seen him play with the extra oomph that we got so accustomed to him seeing him do last year. So I want to see him play with that oomph every single game because he had 14 points, 4 rebounds. And if Furman is giving you that, VCU is going to be a very hard team to beat. All right, so moving forward, VCU will host the 8-7 Fordham Rams at the Stew Wednesday night. There's no way to sugarcoat this. Fordham has been getting their tails kicked for a while. They just got mopped up by the Bonnies, 86-66. They're led by Jackie Johnson, who's averaging 18 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists. And they also have 3 other guys who are averaging double digits. However, that indicates that scoring may not be the issue, but their defense must be horrific. They haven't beaten a good team all season. They played Penn State, 20-point L. They played St. John's, 30-point L. They played St. Louis, 20-point L. They played St. Bonnie's, 20-point L. But they did beat Seton Hall. They beat Seton Hall. We're not going to get away from that. We're not going to get away from that. We are not going to get away from that. But they beat Seton Hall. So VCU has to come out there, and this is going to be a game of really locking in and being focused, and make sure you take them seriously, but you also are more concerned about that you're playing the right way and playing for each other. And if they do that, they should cruise to a victory against Fordham. All right, and that's all I got for y'all. Until next time, never quit, stay humble, peace.